Alrighty, here we are once again at FETC. We're still on the first day, and this has been an amazing conference. Uh, with me at this time, I have Daniel Vanover,
Yes.
right? Uh, Give us a little bit about who you are.
All right. So I'm a technology coach in Wise County schools in Wise, Virginia. My primary role is kind of the training, professional development, assisting teachers with technology integration. I'm also quite invested in our area. I live right there in Wise. Kids in the school system, so it's kind of one of those things. I'm an all-in. I'm also one of the golf coaches for the JV golf coach for the area. So really just kind of enjoy life there in Wise.
Your your life is the school.
My life is the school. Well, when you have kids in the school, your life becomes the school. It's
So this is one of those things that a lot of people, which kills me. A lot of our teachers, when we talk about school safety, they separate it from the fact that they have kids in the schools,
Absolutely.
right? And you sit there and you go, frankly, it's a little frustrating for me because I think like when I hear teachers say, this isn't what I got into education for. I get it, and that's really not my job. Not my area of expertise. But okay, you have kids in the school, right? So it is, as a parent, it's your job, right?
It is.
And so, and interesting in the conversation we had before, you have some struggles with the adoption of technology as a technology coach, right? And what's going on with that? Explain that.
Well, and it's just like what you said. It's a lot of times a teacher may get this ideal of, okay, this is why I entered into education, or this is how I want to do things, and when either it's because of the way that the school division does things, or just education in general, or the way that changes have been happening with technology, it kind of forces everybody into a different mold of teaching or using technology, and you do have some kind of pushback sometimes.
Right.
So I think folks sometimes push back because it's not the ideal thing. That's not really ideally what I wanted to do, or
Right.
how I want to do it. If change happens, a lot of times we don't like change, and so we push back against it to try to keep things the same.
Well, and then it's compounded because technology changes so quickly and so frequently, and sometimes that's the confusion with people, right? Is wait, we just learned this and now we're doing this, and I get it. I'm right with everybody there, but the fact of the matter is it's not going anywhere,
Yeah.
right? And if we push back and we continue to push back, then one, we're not as efficient or effective as we should be or could be. And two, there are so many things, especially in the safety world, where we have enough things to do from a manual perspective that anything that we can do to increase that efficacy, the efficiency of things, is something that we really should be wrapping our arms around. And from my perspective, here's one of the things that I think people struggle with, and that is they want technology to solve their problem. And frankly, that's not usually what happens. Uh, and we still have to understand what it is that we want to do and how to do that. But the fact of the matter is that technology can allow us to do that quicker and more effectively and tie all the loose ends together. And from a crisis go perspective, that's what we do. You can press our button, but that's not coming to save you. But it will alert you. It will tell you how to communicate, who to communicate with. It'll help you with your drills, help you become more effective. But here's what the data shows us. The data shows us we did that drill that you were required to by the state of Virginia, which is where you're from. we have lessons learned. We can look at the data and say, well, we need to do this better or we need to do that better. And oftentimes it's the compliance issues that for administrators, are you doing this and are you doing it correctly, right? It's not just doing it right. So what is from your perspective, I know people are asking questions like, how do you do this? How do you do that? In the safety realm, what does that translate to you? Is it
I think to me, and in my role as far as training, professional development, it translates to really practicing what we want to happen when and if something happens that we have to utilize that technology in safety for an actual crisis that happens, or I mean, even in like just looking at it in general in your classroom, you're not going to walk into your classroom and the first time that you use a smart panel or a Promethean board is the first time you walk into the classroom.
Right.
Hopefully, you've kind of learned a little bit about how to use it. You've trained yourself on how to use it, and that way, when you walk in, you're not totally dumbfounded by the technology that's there.
Right.
So, in the safety realm, that's kind of what I've always really tried to promote with my trainings. Is we need our trainings and we need our practice to be very similar to what's going to actually happen in a crisis itself.
Yeah.
So that, I mean, your brain will shut off in the middle of a crisis anyway.
Right.
You want that repetitive motion
Yeah,
in
so-
your training to happen.
Yeah, so it's like, and this is the thing, again, that I struggle with, is we get a lot of pushback. This is too complicated. I can't push another button. Well, that's because you think everything is, you're a teacher, you should know everything, and this should just come to me. You got there from a process. It's an evolutionary process. You started in kindergarten and you went all the way up and got your doctorate, right? That didn't happen in one training session at the beginning of the year. It didn't happen that way. And this is no different. We're learning experiences. We're going through our drills. We're talking about other people's experience. We're learning from that. And, one of the things I get a lot of questions about, it's really about, I just lost my train of thought. Really about getting people to understand that it's a process and that we're gaining experience. We're looking to people who have experience and where we can learn from that and then apply it at the next one and just incrementally take these small steps. And at some point, we're going to be much better at what it is. So when we are in a crisis, we've already experienced it.
Absolutely.
And we can just, I need to press this button. And in law enforcement, we always revert to our training. And whether it's good training or bad training, we revert to it, right? And if it's zero training, that's when people freeze, right? And that's when people don't know what to do. And I feel for it because I'm that type of person that in technology. All right, how do I do this? But I've learned over the 3+ years I've been here and with the schools, I have to embrace technology. I don't like it. I get it. I understand why we do. So now I have to learn because in all reality, what would take us weeks to do when we're compiling reports can be a press of the button. And really, we talked about earlier, we talked with a gentleman about data breaches and just having that data. Data is the new gold. It's the new commodity. And it's what we do with that data. Sometimes it's nefarious, but other times this is what people want. They want data to drive our decisions, right? But data isn't just what's in our computer systems. It's what's in our head, and it's our experiences. And so we have to get that data and say, oh, I talked to Kelly, and he said to do this. Okay, let's do it this way, right? So anything else you got?
It pretty much sums it up. And I think it's really, You really said it right. It's the data is what's in your head, because you're programming your head to do the things that you want it to do. Just like a computer or anything that we have, you have to program that device to react and to act in a certain way when a stimulus is hit upon it.
Right. So I'll put it in. I'll put this maybe into your realm. I can't give you a golf club and tell you to go hit a hole in one.
No.
Right. So I have to visualize that first. I have to look through that. I have to get coaching. I have to swing that club. And every time I swing that club, some data goes in there. It may not be the right data. That's what coaches are for. Say, hey, you know what? Maybe we should do this. But that's what our safety coordinators are for. And that's how we learn. As human beings, that's how we learn. Trial and error, mostly on error. And we work through that. And I know it's not the golf club that's doing it, but we would just put the golf club down and it would do it all by itself. We have to use it. We have to practice with it. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. It's good to meet you.
Yeah, good to meet you.